What's going on YouTube? Baltmatrix here, and today we are taking a look at Transformers Robots in Disguise Warrior Class Scorponok. Now, a little funny thing about Scorponok here is this guy was supposed to be out before Paralon. That obviously didn't happen because not only did I get the figure from Canada via my good friend Ryan, aka Nightbeat on Twitter, first, but Paralon is also already shown up in my local Toys R Us's. So here are the two figures, or I should say mold brothers, next to each other. They are exactly the same, save for the head sculpts. Paralon is an homage to the original Beast Wars Scorponok, while Scorponok is his own brand new figure, whose head sculpt I rather like. It's a very cool looking scorpion-based head sculpt. Like Paralon before him, Scorponok comes with this single sword as his only accessory. It's the same exact sword as Paralon's. Poseability on the figure is pretty good, though I have noticed that the hips on this figure, Scorponok, are a little bit looser than the hips on Paralon, but nothing a little bit of TLC won't fix. And the only other issue I have is his right shoulder pad has a tendency to come off much too easily for my taste. Now, one thing I have noticed is that the figure has a lot of marring in the plastic, especially on the plastic and the shoulder pads. You could see it here in the lights. You could see the not deformation, but the bubbling of the paint, and I'm kind of worried this thing might suffer from gold plastic syndrome. If you don't know what that is, look it up. The figure's posability is pretty good. Head is on a ball joint, though it is a little bit limited. Shoulders do move back and forth on a ball joint, but are limited due to the shoulder pads. No torso articulation. More than a 90-degree bend at the elbows, no fist articulation of any sort, and then some articulation in the legs, which the legs can be straightened out to give him extremely ridiculous amounts of height. And yes, he is overly top-heavy and not fun to pose in this way, but just something interesting that I wanted to add. This is my favorite way to pose Scorponok. I think he looks absolutely fantastic posing like this. You can get some really neat poses out of this mold, as we saw with Paralon. You can actually get the legs to pose in different ways because of the extendability. So you do have a lot of range of motion and options here. Just an absolutely wonderful figure to pose and have fun with. Scorponok's transformation is actually pretty easy. To start with, we'll fold back the tail that rests nicely on the back of his shoulders, extend the legs straight out, come to the shoulder pads and unpeg them, wiggle them off and then fold them down. Then take the elbows and bend them at 90 degrees. Open up the shoulder pads, and the shoulder pads will then twist and turn so that you can put the fists, or I should say the forearms, of the robot mode into them, and then close that up nicely. Just be a little bit careful of how you're posing and moving things around. Nothing will break, at least I don't think so, but it is just to be good, or it is just good to be a little bit careful, just to be on the safe side. And then you have what I call his boxing mode, which I did mention in my Paralon review. Next, we will come to the chest and open that all the way up, folding that double hinge down as far as it will go, flip up the scorpion mode head, flip the robot mode head into the body, which is a little bit harder to do considering the way the head is. And as you saw, I did pop the head clean off the ball joint. Just gotta be a little bit careful about that. So you can kind of grab it and twist it and turn it around, and then fold the chest up, and it won't really peg into place until you push it up and into these sections. But you run into a problem with the head because the head doesn't want to fold up all the way. It's actually my only complaint with the figure, is that getting this connected is a little bit difficult, and hiding the head is a little bit hard as well. Then take the legs and fold them around and up, and hopefully you won't screw it up like I'm doing here, but they will fold up and then fold up again and peg into place right underneath where the shoulders were. So we'll do the same thing over here, straighten it up, fold the foot out, and fold the leg up, getting everything lined up, and get it connected into place. And then fold the scorpion legs down and connect the sword to the tip of the tail, which you don't actually have to do. And here's the scorpion mode. As you can see, it is a really cool little brown scorpion. It works incredibly well and just looks nifty. Again, as I said, you do not need to peg the sword into the tip of the tail. You can totally do that, and you end up with something that looks like this, which is definitely deadly, but I actually like leaving the sword off. I think it's a more convincing scorpion mode with it off. And sorry, I kicked the tripod. Overall, the scorpion mode is very cool. I kind of like the look of Paralon more in the scorpion mode, but that's just me. And here's a comparison between the two scorpion modes. They are both equally awesome. They're exactly the same, save for paint, and they're both quite excellent. Scorponok is an absolutely great figure, but I actually think Paralon is put together better. Scorponok has a couple of loose spots that Paralon just does not have. And I can understand that, as Paralon is supposed to be a Toys R Us exclusive, but it would have been nice to have both figures be absolutely perfect. Oh well, not a big deal. But I still really enjoy this mold. I'm kind of hoping, though, that this is it. I hope we don't get any more figures from this mold, because 2's enough. I don't need any more. I'm perfectly happy with saying that 2 is plenty. Now, if there was a very heavy retool of the mold into a different insect-based figure, I'd be okay with that. But this specific mold, I think we're done. I don't think we need any more. But then again, this is Hasbro we're talking about, so we might get another one. Who knows? Anyway, guys, this figure is definitely worth picking up and having in your collection, especially if you're an RID fan. So thank you for watching this video review. As always, I am Baltmatrix. Ask you to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.